folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings weekly movie news podcast. This week's news brought to you by We Don't Want You. Yes, let's start with a batch of release dates and pushbacks, the big one being Greta Gerwig's Narnia. Originally, Narnia was coming out over the coveted Thanksgiving weekend spot in theaters, and then was going on Netflix for Christmas, which sounded like a pretty good plan, and for Netflix, giving it a prime 5-week release in theaters is very good for them. Now, though, Narnia has been pushed. Netflix is spinning this as a positive, saying that they are giving a 54 theatrical release window, which I mean is good, but it's coming out February 12th now and arriving on Netflix April 2nd. I don't know, apparently someone did get injured on set, and they're saying that's what's causing a production delay. Others are saying that it's because the film isn't Oscar-worthy, so it's being put out earlier in the year, rather than that awards buzz heavy period late in the year. So we'll have to literally wait and see what we get. Maybe it's not all that great. Maybe it's just a natural pushback. But good for Netflix for committing to 54 days. And hey, now we get a major release in peak Dumpuary. Now let's get on to Frozen. That is the freezing of Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 2. Yes, the Kevin Costner large-scale multi-film epic that has really had a tough time for a while. So the second film, Chapter 2, is completely done, and it's in the can, and has been there for basically 2 years now. It actually even premiered at a festival. Now, the plan was for Chapter 1 and 2 to come out 6 weeks apart from each other, but after Chapter 1 had a really bad box office, Warner Bros. Shelved it. The plan basically then became let Chapter 1 come to streaming and hope it gains traction, and then release Chapter 2. Well, now it's rumored that Warner Bros. Is totally freezing the project and has no plans, as of right now, to be released. Don't forget, Chapter 3 was already undergoing location scouting a year and a half ago, and then just last year, Costner was going overseas to some Gulf states to get funding, so it really isn't great. Costner wanted there to be 4 chapters at that, and there have been lawsuits that have come out due to underpaid staff. There's been sexual harassment claims. Just not a great story here. So, an American Saga for sure, and we'll see if Costner can pull a rabbit, or more so a Saudi investor out of a hat to continue the passion project. But overall, things are not looking great. And sticking with Warner taking movies off its release slate, Warner is pulling Jonah Hill's next film, Cut Off, from its July release schedule. Again, tragically named, Jonah is, as it seems, a bit cut off right now. There are no new dates for the film. It sounds like Warner got cold feet following a box office and critical defeat of Jonah's previous film, Outcome. And in fact, how many of you even knew Jonah Hill came out with a film called Outcome, literally coming out less than a month ago, starring Keanu Reeves? So, I always like Jonah. He can wear many different hats and has way more range than just that comedy boy back in Superbad. Directing-wise, though, he hasn't gotten his footing quite yet, and I hope he does. But for Outcome and the now shelved Cut Off, it just isn't there right now. Well, Vincent Daly is right. If you heard last week's review of Michael, Vin was very certain we would be getting a second Michael biopic to finish off the story. And now, after 2 great weekends at the box office, it is official, things are moving forward. Lionsgate film chair Adam Fogelson says that producer Graham King wants to be shooting this year already, and it could be that Graham actually will direct the second film as well. One thing we didn't really touch on with this first Michael movie is that director Antoine Fuqua didn't seem to be enjoying his time directing it. And believe it or not, he didn't even finish filming, actually. It was producer Graham King that stepped in and finished the film. And Lionsgate just wanted Fuqua to stay quiet, essentially. So it would almost be surprising if Antoine steps back into filming. He's already working on a Netflix project with Denzel, so both parties might just be happy to go their separate ways, and then have King step in to keep it on the rails. Regardless, Michael Chapter 2, or whatever it's going to be called, is coming our way, possibly even late next year. It certainly will be interesting to see how they cover the not-so-graceful second chapter of Michael's life. Okay, a couple of Tom Cruise updates here. Firstly, a project from Warner Brothers that is getting the green light. Edge of Tomorrow is a go, and it will be shooting later this year. Yes, a project that was up in the air for a while for sure, but now it looks like the stars are lining up. So Tom Cruise and Edge of Tomorrow director Doug Liman were supposed to be shooting a movie this year, or basically literally shooting right now. It was going to be a diving movie called Deeper, and it was going to be starring Ana de Armas alongside Cruise. They even went through all the diving training and everything. They were ready to go for the film, but the budget of the film got too high and scared off studios. So now, hey, sorry, Ana de Armas, let's bring in Emily Blunt, and here we go. So the whole team is apparently back for Edge of Tomorrow 2, and we'll have updates as production really kicks off into gear later this year. Then more Tom Cruise news. It looks like Christopher McQuarrie will not be directing, and sounds like will not be writing on Top Gun 3. Yes, after working together on 10 films, it seems like Tom and Chris need a bit of a professional break. Or at least Tom needs a break from Chris McQuarrie. Following 2 lackluster blockbuster releases from the Mission movies, it sounds like Tom Cruise isn't keen on working with McQuarrie for a bit. Now, the two are still friendly and all, but Tom wants to go in another direction for a while, which does kind of seem apparent. He's with Alejandro G. Inarritu on Digger coming out this fall, and now he's back with Liman later this year for the Edge of Tomorrow film. And for one of the biggest blockbusters coming this decade, Top Gun 3, Cruise reportedly just wants to go in a different direction creatively. All kinds of names are being thrown around now. I still really like Joseph Kosinski, who did Maverick, but he has a lot of projects in the works, so it might just not be feasible schedule-wise. So as more comes out, I'll be all over this one here. I hate to say I told you so, but when we covered The Mummy a couple weeks ago, which was another Cruise-McQuarrie blockbuster bust, I did say I think McQuarrie is holding back Tom Cruise here. I don't see them quite as equals, and I certainly don't think Chris lifts up Tom. So anyway, just saying that seems to be a thing. So again, we'll just keep you updated as more comes out for Top Gun 3. But hey, let's end on some all-around wonderful news. Actor Sam Neill, known most widely for playing Alan Grant in the Jurassic Park films, he's also been in a huge number of smaller films and TV, and starring in major films like Hunt for Red October, In the Mouth of Madness, and Event Horizon, and many, many more. He's a very well-known actor, and now Sam is cancer-free. Yes, for 5 years, Sam was battling stage 3 blood cancer, and at times the end seemed near. Sam had given a few raw interviews about his prospects and his view of death creeping around the corner. He had a form of lymphoma for years and was undergoing chemotherapy that was working for a time until it wasn't. So when the chemo stopped, it seemed like the end was coming around the corner until a brand new treatment came along called CAR T-cell therapy. And, in the words of Neill himself, quote, "I've just had a scan, and there is no cancer in my body. That's an extraordinary thing," end quote. And Sam, being a tough Kiwi, said, "It's time to do another movie." So excellent news, and extremely happy for Mr. Sam Neill. He will be in the next Godzilla x Kong film next year, which is cool, and he's got another smaller project in post-production. So it is a thing to celebrate. Cheers to you, Mr. Sam Neill. And let's jump on over to the box office for this past weekend. So the 5th highest grossing film this weekend was a newly released horror film called Hokum that brought in $6.4 million. 4th was Project Hail Mary, making $8.6 million. The Super Mario Galaxy movie made $12.1 in the 3rd slot. That's got a worldwide total of approaching $900 million. Michael had another great weekend, pulling in $54 million. That's now at a worldwide total of just over $420 million. And the number one film this weekend at the box office was The Devil Wears Prada 2, with a very good $77 million opening weekend and an extremely good international take that brings the worldwide total already in one weekend to $233 million for that comedy. So very good for that. But coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. We are kicking off Alfred Hitchcock month, folks, so we're covering Rope from 1948. Then in theaters, that horror film, Hokum, directed by Damian McCarthy. And then The Gals Are Back in The Devil Wears Prada 2, directed by David Frankel. So that's it for your weekly movie news here, folks. We'll leave you today with a quote from an actor, Kevin Costner. "Field of Dreams is probably our generation's It's a Wonderful Life." And all right, folks, the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast, that was it. See you on Thursday.